It's happened like maybe 3 times in my life, but it has happened. And not even for like very long, right? It was like maybe 15, 20 seconds, but it's creepy. Yeah, I mean, like, you're awake and it's scary, you know? Because you feel like there's somebody in the room with you. We're gonna do the nightmare tonight, and it's about sleep paralysis. So, you know, that might not be everybody's thing. Um, Sorry. It'll be interesting though, right? So sleep paralysis is basically a thing where you don't quite fall asleep, but you're not totally awake either. So you're paralyzed in a dream state while also being awake. Um, it doesn't sound as bad when you say it like that, but it's not so much a dream state, it's a nightmare state. It just seems to always be a nightmare. So being paralyzed awake in the middle of a very intense, very real feeling nightmare would be literally a nightmare. I mean, you don't have like a guard between you and the nightmare because you are there in a sense, right? The nightmare doesn't happen inside your brain or wherever it happens to happen. It happens in your room. It happens around you. So yeah. And the question I want to ask is this shit real? Because who knows? It might be. Maybe when you fade in between, like, the state of wakefulness to sleep and then vice versa, you, like, can sense other things. Like, your grasp on reality is weakened a little bit. Like at the sunsets and sunrises of your day. I don't know. It's a theory. But I guess we might as well just dive on into it and see what we can find out. Again, welcome to the Sulk stream, and I'm the Incredible Sulk. Thank you, everybody, for joining. There we go. It's nice to be back, isn't it? Nightmare. A noun? How about that? Late 13th century Middle English, denoting an evil spirit thought to lie upon and suffocate sleepers. From night plus Old English, mare, incubus. Basically. For many, sleep is fraught with things worse than bad dreams. Okay. This is the story of 8 people and what waits for them in the darkness. What was that?
Me and my brother were like, we just got out of the shower, and he was about 2 years younger.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, like, your adult brother, you and your adult brother got out of the shower. No, he was. Wait, he just said he's 2 years younger. Did he tell you?
Than me, and
So 2 years younger than me. Not. That doesn't mean he's a toddler or they're both kids. They're both.
while my mom was like taking care of him because he's like tiny, I was like in the living room drying off watching TV.
Well, if your mom is there, it automatically makes it not gay. Those are the rules.
Panamanian dictator Manuel Noriega.
Hey, Chris.
Whoever the newscaster was starts kind of getting my attention.
Chris.
Saying like, hey, Chris. Hey, Chris.
That's like schizophrenia, though, isn't it? When you think the TV's talking to you.
Hey, Chris.
And it's saying, don't worry.
Everything's going to be okay. And one day, we'll be back.
It terrified me. I remember screaming to get my mom, bringing her to the TV, who now was back to doing like normal newscasting, because that's, what it was. And her basically explaining to me, like, TVs don't talk to you. That's ridiculous. I'm disenchanted, because now I thought something really cool happened, and...
No, dude, you're crazy. That's like a definite, very clear sign that someone is crazy. When they think the TV is talking to them, or like advertisements are directed at them directly, you're crazy. It's like gang stalking, right? People think they get gang stalked, and there's an entire community of people that think this, and they think the TV is talking to them. Or at least they're putting on the programs that they intentionally don't like, right? Like they're having meetings about how can we screw over Chris today.
That's not a thing. I remember. I know it was there. And, I was wide awake. I had literally just gotten out of the shower, and it was this very overwhelming experience for me, because now, as a 5-year-old, I didn't know where I belonged.
At home. You're a 5-year-old. What are you talking about? All the darkness looks alive.
So how did this start, Jeff?
Probably about 10 years ago. I was my girlfriend at the time and we were talking about just different paranormal stories, and she started talking.
I know the type her girlfriend. His girlfriend she's huge, right? And she has like a Jack Skellington tattoo. She always wears like Jack Skellington shirts, and she's like goth, but she's like huge, and she cuts herself. And she thinks she's brooding.
Telling me about how sometimes she would wake up in the middle of the night, just like unable to move or breathe, and she said it felt like there's like an evil presence in the room with her, and that it would just like kind of like torment her, and then she would eventually wake up and it'd be like it was just a dream. And after she told me that, I didn't really know what to make of it. I was like, okay, I got involved with some crazy girl, and I just kind of changed the subject, started talking.
I mean, it's okay if they're crazy, right? That's not the biggest deal, but if she's like, dude, there's like a spirit here. There's a presence. So, be cool, watch what you say, because it's actually, it's the presence of a former KKK member. And I don't know why.
About a week later,
a racist ghost would be funny.
I laid down to go to sleep, and just as I started to drift off.
I mean, you would think most ghosts would be racist, though, right? Like, if you go back into the past, in any sort of okay, thank you. That was my resident ghost, and yeah, she's super racist. So, anyways, moving.
I was like, I fell asleep, but then woke up at like, the same
that damn Confederate ghost
My whole body
always
started-
breaks in on my fucking streams, and it starts with his racist tirades, and I've had enough of it, Confederate ghost. Go back to your hardtack and your muskets.
tingling, felt like really weighted down, like something
Hey, goofy
pulling
boots.
me. And I heard this like sound. It wasn't like outside of my head, but it was just like inside of my head. It just sounded like a wash machine, just kind of like out of balance or something.
That was scary.
Like banging
That was a
against the
scary
wall,
ghost.
and
That
just
burst
really
into here.
terrified me.
And drop the N bomb.
Kind of started like freaking out.
But back then, it wasn't the N
started
bomb.
seeing things.
It was just the N.
really bizarre.
It was just the N.
What did you see?
They're all like, we don't have that
kinda like-
technology.
Kind of like all these different colors, like a laser light show or something, or like I was like flying through like a time warp.
Tripping.
I just had all these like colors just like shooting at me and lights and stuff. And I had found that I had zero control over my body. Like no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't move my arms, my legs, or nothing. And so I started to kind of have like a panic attack.
I wonder if this happens to like certain types of people, right? Or is it across the spectrum of like there's a cross section, and like all people of all different races and types have this sort of sleep paralysis condition, because it's a condition, right? Your brain can't properly switch between awake and asleep, right? It doesn't do that effectively. So I'm sure there's medication for it.
Because I didn't know what was going on. I thought
I just wonder if it's more
dead. I thought it
common
was like a
in some
stroke or
people.
something. Nothing worked. I couldn't move. I had no control over anything. And finally, I decided, well, I'm just gonna try to.
That shit has happened to me. Like, for real, it has not happened often. It's happened like maybe 3 times in my life, but it has happened. And not even for like very long, right? It was like maybe 15, 20 seconds, but it's creepy. Yeah, I mean, like, you're awake and it's scary, you know? Because you feel like there's somebody in the room with you. And it's the weirdest feeling where it's just like, okay, and then you really struggle to yell out or to like move a muscle. Like, you really, really struggle, but nothing happens. And then eventually, you know, everything kicks back into gear, and then you're fully awake, and you're like, that was not pleasant, right? Yeah, it has happened to me, like, not very many times though, but it has happened. It's crazy. It's the craziest shit. That's why I'm like, damn, I hope this isn't real. Because that would be a problem. I would have to patchouli the house and like get holy water and, you know, or is it me?
Build up all the strength that I have in me just to get myself.
This is called the nightmare. It's about sleep paralysis.
To roll over onto my girlfriend, hoping that it wakes her up. So it's just like this last ditch effort of everything I had. I just like wrenched my body. As soon as I like flipped over on top of her, I woke up. And I was still laying in my original position, like none of it had happened. And I was just completely shocked. I had no idea what was going on. And I just did not know what to make of it.
Dude, it freaks you out. It freaks you out. Like, again, has not happened many times to me, but it has happened. And it's, yeah, you can't move.
After that, it was constantly, night after night after night for a couple weeks, maybe even a month or so. Just did not know how to process it at the time. So finally, I told my girlfriend about it. I was like, okay, this is what's happening to me. I think I need to go to a doctor. I think I'm
I
having
got a
strokes.
message thought
mini strokes or
because
seizures
she doesn't
maybe.
have
And
headphones in.
she's like, no, that's exactly what happens to me. And It's like, that's what I was trying to tell you about.
I was about 29 years old. And here in this room, as I would lay down to sleep,
I wonder what she's doing.
I'd start feeling.
Because she doesn't know what we're doing, so she's trying to guess what we're doing. And I just put in the chat what happened. So I'm kind of, it's like a deaf person or blind person, deaf person, because she can't hear. That's it. That's what deaf people can't do, right? I was like, can deaf people not see? And I was like, no, deaf people can't hear. And that's how I graduated high school.
Tingling in my feet.
it was
and then
it was indeed that simple.
Rise up my legs, up my torso, and my hands, and I'd also hear buzzing. You know, like bees buzzing. That's when these episodes would start. I would feel tingling. I feel the energy. I felt that my mind.
Obedience and Sulk typing is like listening to grandma try to use the Amazon. It's seriously, it sounds like a fucking hold on, sorry guys. Oh, now I fucked up. There we go. It sounds like an old-timey mechanical typewriter, right? Like like I'm writing to like families after World War II, informing them their son is dead, right? It is with our deepest condolences that your racist Confederate grandpa has burst into the room and said the N-word.
Try to move my head from side to side. I just couldn't move.
That's how they did it back in the day. Brave soldiers. Oh yeah, Art Chair, and blind people can't tell time. No, they have no concept of time. The days passing is meaningless to the blind. Did you know that? Did you know that? Apparently they all live in one continuous stream of consciousness, and there's no such thing as wake or sleeping. It's the craziest thing. I'm sorry. That shit made me die. That shit made me die. When he said that, I could not even handle it. Yeah, exactly, Goofy Boots. Yeah, you sweep the keyboard to go to the next line and the bell goes off. I would love that. I would love a little bell on my keyboard that every few words I type, it just goes ding, because I would really appreciate that. If you guys can find me that keyboard on Amazon, I will buy it. I will buy it, and then you'll hear me doing that. Please find it for me, because it's got to be out there. It's got to be out there.
I would hear tapping on the window. They would tap here. I would hear tapping. And I'm thinking, well, maybe it's just a squirrel or a raccoon. But it was like a pattern. It was definitely a knock.
No,
and
no thought. She is the reluctant
one. I'd
one.
look toward the window, and then it would stop.
They always are, right?
But after a while,
it's what I'm into.
I started feeling
reluctancy. It's a big turn on for me.
An actual presence. And I would feel this presence right next to me trying to take my soul out. It would torture me at night, and I would try and fight it. But I felt my body felt paralyzed. It was just so strong that I would just let go, and then I'd feel myself floating in the air.
Okay, white guy,
try and see myself,
large Hispanic woman.
I would just see a blur.
I'm keeping a dossier on these people, so I know if it's like usually white people or if it's like multiple races. I know the Hmong had a problem with it. I think it mentions it in this documentary, but the Hmong people of Thailand who came over from Thailand, obviously, to California in like the 70s or something like that. They had a problem dying in the middle of the night. And they said it was a creature that would sit on their chest and kill them. and like 30-something young men just inexplicably died in their sleep of the same just heart failure, I guess it was. Suffocation. I don't know. So that's interesting, right?
And when
Is
I was
that-
pregnant with my daughter, and I felt the baby as well trying to come out, but I was trying to fight it, and I was saying no, no. So I would pull back. It's like if I would pull back, and it would pull, you know, the other way.
I can make a keyboard macro that does that.
When I was in my mid to late 20s,
I'm not a
I
computer
had a
scientist.
really awful
I can't.
breakup.
I don't write code. I tried writing code, and I didn't get very far. It's boring. So I don't know about making macros for my keyboard or something like that. Is there something I can pay money for that I could buy? Because it's like, if it's like super steampunky too, right? Like bronze and wood, and it, ding. I would buy it. I would absolutely buy
I
it.
was like so brokenhearted, and I started my first teaching job around the same time, so I was super stressed out from that.
Yeah, deaf concerts are a thing. Haven't you ever seen Mr. Holland's Opus, where he has a concert and he uses lights to flash, and that's supposed to represent music somehow? I don't fucking know. I don't know. How does that represent music, right? When I look at flashing lights, I'm like, oh, those are some flashing lights. I'm not hearing music. And it's, the guy's deaf, so maybe it's just different for him, but I just see flashing lights. It wouldn't be like beautiful to me. A tear rolls down his cheek. I'm like, why? Why? Do you roll up to a stoplight and then just burst into tears because it's beautiful? No. Probably not. Because he can't drive because he's deaf. How's he going to even see the stoplight?
I would just see this like dark figure by the bookshelves, and I like, could not move, and it was fucking terrifying. I didn't know what was happening. I did think that somebody had broken into my apartment at first, because at that point, my roommate and I lived, I had a roommate then, like we lived on 4th Street, and we were on the top floor of the building. And our building was really easy to get into. Like the door in from the balcony to like our apartment didn't really lock, and I was so.
Okay, so Critical Thought is trying to figure out what's going on the stream without like any sound or anything like this. So I'm going to go ahead and read her rough opinion of what's going on. Spaghetti Woman is rearranging Sulk's apartment, and she is letting him because he has already broken the lease and relocated. Deaf concert equals ecstasy glow sticks. That's probably the chat. The ugly fat spaghetti woman has just seen Couchsurfing's photo, realizes she can't compete, and is detailing her suicide plan. Yeah, that's what we got out of the thought so far. I give her 0 stars on that. She would not be a good detective. That's not a good detective, right? Who's the spaghetti woman? Is she the spaghetti woman? What are you doing, Thought?
So I think I was
What
like,
are
oh
you
fuck,
doing?
somebody actually broke in. To be lying there and like, no, I want to move and I'm trying to move and I cannot. Absolutely terrifying.
Obedient to Yas says he has far too much deaf knowledge. And I have to ask, where do you hear that from? I don't know. Where do you hear that from?
I've always
'Cause,
had a problem with
how do
states
you-
of consciousness slipping in
Writing,
and
I
out
guess.
of different states
Deaf people can write,
of consciousness. And
I'm sure.
I do remember when I was very, very young, 2, 3, I was still in a crib. And
It must be hard to learn to read, though, when you're deaf. Right? Like, how do you learn to read when you're deaf? You can't, like, sound it out. You just have to look at that symbol and know it means such and such. I guess that's not that tough, but... And I'm sure they have systems worked out for it. I don't know.
There was a plug-in.
Would it be hard to learn how to read if you were deaf?
Orange cast color. And it was all dark except for that orange cast. In the room.
Obedience says we call deafies who would talk aloud. Deafies, he called deaf people, who would talk aloud honkies. Because they honked like geese, I assume. That's really mean. That's really mean.
Red, and I felt like something was coming after.
Well, what are they gonna do? I mean, like, I'm convinced deaf people can't read lips. I just don't see that happening. I think deaf people think they read lips, but they're totally off. Reading lips is hard, right? Here, watch. You tell me what I say. Here. Can I turn this off? Did that work? Nope. And just like that, I've proven my point because you guys don't know what I said to you. And it's not like, oh, they're deaf, so they have to pay more attention. No, no. Yeah, exactly. Goofy Boots says, oh, I got it. There's probably a book they can read that teaches them how to read. I'm so smart. See, where do you start? Where's the starting point? If somebody can't explain to you in deaf talk, I mean, is it like a picture-based situation? It must be. Flashcards. But then they're like, what is that? I don't know. I'm glad I'm not deaf. It sounds, no pun intended, very difficult. And boring.
My earliest memory of the scariness.
Wouldn't it be boring to be deaf?
Continued to happen.
We can say whatever we want about them. You guys remember they're deaf, all right? There's no closed captioning on this program. We're safe. We're not going to get the deaf mafia after us. And if we did, we'd hear them coming. We'd hear them coming very easily.
Down to go to sleep.
We'd be safe.
I would feel utterly exhausted, almost as if I had just been drugged. I mean,
that Helen Keller bitch did it apparently. She was faking. She's a faker. Helen Keller was a faker. She ended up giving speeches in her later life. Bullshit, you can't. No. You can't see or hear. None of that. And you end up giving speeches? How do you do that? You're not reading lips. What are you doing? Yeah, I've seen The Miracle Worker. I think that's propaganda. That's just bullshit. No way. What? No, fuck yourself.
It's just like I had been injected.
No.
And my eyes sealed shut, my mouth sealed shut, and it's as if everything was shutting down except for my awareness, my consciousness. And then I could feel a vibration. Sometimes it was so intense it felt like being electrocuted, but it was definitely an electrical vibration. I began hearing voices and screams and crying and all of this really emotional.
Okay, so Obedience says a lot are deaf plus deaf and blind, deaf and downs, etc., but lip reading is real and scary. A girl in my labs was total deaf and attended spoken lectures and could talk to us. She was a honky while speaking to you, though. So she honked like a goose. How's she doing the lectures? I imagine she's not sitting in the back, right? If she's reading like binoculars. And then like writing down pictures because she doesn't know how to spell. She doesn't know how to read. So she's just and then writing down the shape of the guy's mouth. And then you're like, hey, Honky, can I borrow your notes? And it's just a bunch of mouths. It's fucking retarded.
Drama, yelling to crying, but all negative emotions. All of these different noises. And then that is when the shadow man would come toward me.
Oh, this is the hat man.
He looked just like a three-dimensional shadow. Outline, just perfect. And he would walk.
That shit does, I mean, like, yeah, you do see that. I mean, see. A lot of times you don't see it physically, but you, like, feel it.
With him. It's as if it was emanating.
You know how sometimes you feel like somebody's in the room with you? It's just that, but very intense. Like, very intense. You know somebody's there, right? It's not like a matter of hearing or seeing. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like humans can sense other humans just based off the electricity their body gives off. You know, there's got to be some sort of sense that we haven't discovered where people can know that people are close, especially if they're in like a quiet, dark area sitting there alone for a while, right? Maybe not just walking by in a hallway and like a guy's hiding in a trash can. Maybe you wouldn't know that, but like I'm sitting here. If somebody was sitting behind me this whole time, I would probably be like, is there somebody behind me? I would do that. And so would every other person ever. Maybe not honkies, but who knows about them?
And he would come towards me, and I would just feel that. hear.
Wow.
I would hear all the
Thanks,
sounds.
Thought.
Hell, I don't know.
Really? I mean, like, okay, thank you, Thought.
Any other way to put it.
Yeah, hit the like button.
Feel his awful vibration. And I would have a fight-flight response. And I would completely, freak out and try to scream or get away.
Oh, fuck, dude. I've been doing the whole... I'm sorry, my bad. I've been doing this too long. That's classic Sulk. That's classic Sulk shit. I totally just spaced that it was on the wrong screen this whole time. Yeah, I'm sorry. There we go. It's back to better. Back to normal.
And many times the intensity just continued. And I was very scared. And I was upstairs. And
Thought's playing hardball in the comments.
Like anybody was going to get to me if I screamed.
She says, if you don't hit the like button, Klaus Schwab will ass rape you tonight.
Forever.
He's gonna be a busy, that's going to be a busy man, right? He's going to wear the robe and everything, too.
Scared me to the end of my wits. And if anything was
I love that
drive
picture
me.
of him in the Star Wars robe. Because it's just... I mean, you're dressing the part, man.
It's going to be bad.
Like, really? You wear robes like that? What is that even for?
What happens is when you're falling asleep, that you'll get an electrical shock through your body just as you're falling asleep, and that's the usual indication that you're gonna have.
You know what I hate is when you're falling asleep and you get this sense you're falling. Do you guys ever get that? Like when you're just on the edge of falling asleep, and then you feel like you start falling off a cliff, and then you jerk yourself awake, right? And then you're like, whoa. I hate that. I don't like that one bit.
Visit that night.
I wonder what causes that.
Then you'll fall asleep, and then you'll wake up and you're totally paralyzed. You can't move, and static in the
Jesus.
room. And
I'm sorry. I'm just looking at this the chat and
your bed.
Critical Thought says, "I'm sick of these YouTube pedophile queers free roasting on Rumble content. Aren't you, Sulk? I can see all their IP addresses. I have a database now." Yeah. Again, Thought's playing hardball, right? Feed that over to Dan Rust. He's head of security. So, is Dan even here?
He'll try and touch you.
Dan's not here.
The first one.
I'm sure he'll see it.
The generic shadow person, which is just basically an outline of me and you
on a sunny day on the side on the pavement on the sidewalk in a 3D form. And the second entity, which is the Hat Man, who seems to have a direct link to him.
I'm sorry, Thought, aren't you at your kid's baseball practice and you're just spewing hate speech in my chat? That's pretty funny. I mean, like, baseball moms are different these days, I guess.
He's a very authoritarian figure. He's very menacing. It's very. He's in charge of them.
Yep. That's the Hat Man, by the way. This is the Hat Man. If you guys know, do you guys know what the Benadryl challenge is? It's like, you know what Benadryl is. It's where you take like 20 Benadryl and it's a deliriant, right? So it doesn't get you high per se, but it makes you delirious, which is much, much worse, right? People who do it say it's awful, but some people are addicted to it. And the people who are addicted to it also say it's awful. They hate doing it, but they just like have to, right? I don't know what's wrong with them. Anyways, you go completely delirious, and a very common thing to happen is for you to see the Hat Man, the black silhouette with the wide-brimmed hat. This guy, usually with red glowing eyes, and they say it's the most evil presence they've ever felt in their life. People say it's the devil, right? And they're like, they keep doing it. Why do you keep doing it? That just seems like you're opening yourself to dark entities. And okay, if you don't believe that, fine, but you're still driving yourself nuts. You're like, what you experience is real. You know that, right? It doesn't matter if it's happening in the room or not. What you experience is real to you. So if you take 20 Benadryl and you go delirious and you see Satan, you might have, and you completely feel it, right? You feel everything about it. How is that different from him actually manifesting in the room? If literally nothing changes, right? You still feel the presence. So that's real to you. You should stop doing that. One guy threw like an ashtray at his dog because he thought it was a monster. There's some wild stories about Benadryl challenges. I don't want to look them up because they're long, but maybe one day I'll play some. But dude, they're wild. They're so crazy.
Their team is hell. He's awful. But it all starts with that electrical shock.
Hey, kitty. We're watching The Nightmare. It's about sleep paralysis and sleep paralysis demons.
I have my two separate lives. I have my life, like, we're here talking about it, and it's, it's cool, and I go to work. And then when I go to bed, I have this whole other life that I have to deal with. When it first started, it was pretty intermittent. It wasn't every day. Don't know the age, around this time. My brother didn't live with us anymore, and I had my room all to myself now. And
nope.
It's kind of funny because I can remember my bed.
Nope. Thought you're way off. You're way off. There's no cornfield here.
Had collapsed onto a box of beef.
Kitty B says that happened to me before. Critical Thought said, Sulk is in a cornfield with Slenderman negotiating with fecal arugula. And then Kitty B said, that happened to me before. Completely nonchalant. Completely nonchalantly.
That my mom
was like, oh yeah, I did that one time.
And so my bed kind of pivots, right? On top of this thing, there's a frame.
It's a weird group of people.
The bed pivots. And I remember the bed was pivoted in this particular night with my feet closer to the ground.
No, you were wrong.
Higher up, like a seesaw. And
You're
I remember
wrong.
paralysis
thought.
starts, and I can see the door frame. Like I can see like I'm looking directly at, I'm looking at a wall and the door is right here. So here's a bed. This is me. Bam. Straight forward, there's a door that exits, right? And there's the light from the hallway. And I remember seeing, your traditional darkness. Everything kind of exists in shadows. I mean, it all.
Did anybody sleep on a bed like this as a kid? Because I feel like I see this in movies a lot, but when I was a kid, I had at least a twin. Not like a person, but like a twin bed. Actually, what's his name? Has a joke about that. I sleep in a twin bed. Every night I lie awake wondering where my brother is. Mitch Hedberg. Brilliant.
It looks like it's moving.
Brilliant comedian.
All the darkness looks alive.
What if they're all taking Benadryl and having bad reactions? No, I doubt it. I think the brain is just a weird, funky organ, and we don't know how it works almost at all. Like, we know what if we add some chemistry and do this and do that, it does change how the brain works. So we understand it to like that level, right? But how we understand it on like a metaphysical level about how all these parts work together for us to actually have a sense of self and have like thoughts and ideas arise, or where creativity comes from. There is actually experiments they can do with helmets, like magnetic helmets or electric helmets, that can stimulate creativity. There's something called the God helmet that when you put it on, it'll make you have a very powerful religious experience. I kid you not. That's real shit. It blasts your head full of magnet waves or whatever, and then you just like feel like God is with you. That's weird. This is the science that we know about, too. We have to remember that the government, the army, like high-level weapons manufacturers have technology that we probably couldn't even imagine. Think if we know about the God helmet, we know about creativity boosting devices, what do you think the army has? Do you think they can actually send a signal from your phone that can interact with your brain and change your personality, change your mood, change your IQ? I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't fucking doubt it. I mean, it could be the 5G thing, right? Where they're actually beaming thoughts and ideas into your mind that you think are original ideas that you came up with. I would believe that shit. Yeah. Is it happening? I don't know. But there's got to be some reason the tinfoil hat is such a cliche. You know what I mean? And maybe it's not always crazy people. Maybe it's a lot of the time crazy people, but maybe not always. That's the problem. Maybe not always. Maybe 1 in a million of these people is actually being beamed in information from spy satellites. Chinese spy satellites. I don't know. It's definitely possible, though.
But I remember seeing people being.
They're all
whatever,
popping pills and
just
tripping.
coming in.
That's a child.
They
You
look,
think he's
they
partying
look like
a lot at
If
night?
a person were to walk in front of a light and their shadow were to follow,
Maybe.
They
If
look
it's
like
the 70s, if it's like the 70s, I wouldn't doubt it. People were crazy back then. People were crazy. Good times. The 70s and the 80s is when America fucking rocked, dude. Like, we had Hulk Hogan and Evel Knievel, and like, shit was just dope back then, right? And everyone had a mini bike. Like, people could carry guns in their car and like nobody bitched about it. Like, just in the window, right? That's when it was cool. That's when, I mean, now everyone's like, oh, be gay or I'm going to starve you to death. That's literally what the school system in California is doing. Schools that don't support LGBTQ or trans rights stuff, they are getting stripped of their food benefits. That's not, it's not just California. I think Biden put that through. So I read that. Dude, I mean, it's a new religion. That's the new state religion. When you hang giant gay flags from the nation's capital, what are other people supposed to think? What are other people? Okay, because if we were to do that with like English flags, people would be like, oh, England took back America. Good on them, right? So now people all over the world think that gay people run the country, and they probably are right. They probably thought we got invaded by the gay army and wherever they came from. And yeah, they took over. That's what happens when you hang flags like that, though. That's what that means. When you put up the gay flag, even if the United States flag is there, it really doesn't matter. That's what I would think. If I was from another country, if I'm from this country, that's what I think. Gay people took over the country, and that's just it. That's what it is, right? It was super sneaky, but now the gays run it. Things aren't fabulous. If gay people were running the country, I don't know what would happen. It would be gayer. I don't know. Maybe things would be more efficient. I'm not sure. Things would be how they are now. I don't know.
Almost.
Gas has come down though.
Version of a shadow, like, and
that's good news.
Kind of just didn't do anything. Like, I remember now that they just shadows moving in, like they would kind of intersect the light. I remember.
Thumpire said, my province of British Columbia, the school boards threatened to take away the breakfast programs if all schools didn't submit to the agenda. Yo, dude. Yo. That's not cool. That's not cool. That's bad. You're not supposed to be that way. That's bad, dude. I mean, you're refusing to feed children unless they completely accept and embrace the gay agenda. Why? To turn those kids gay? Yeah. It's population control. That's what it is. And it's something insane. Like, the Zoomers, Gen Z, is like 20% of them are gay, or 25%. A huge, it's still a minority, right? But it's a huge minority. Like, one in basically every 14-year-old girl identifies as bisexual. What? What? When did that happen? Oh, in just like the last 5 or 10 years. That's when it happened, right? I mean, they really ramped it up, didn't they? Because I grew up in California. I went to the California public school system, and they were really pushing the gay shit back then, too. And now it's just, I couldn't imagine how bad it is. I couldn't even imagine. I wouldn't want to step foot anywhere near California public school ever again in my life. But I couldn't imagine how bad it is. It's, well, like, they're not feeding the kids who don't want to be gay. So, like, you don't want to be gay, you starve. That's playing some pretty, that's hardball, dude. Yo, let me... You suck this dick or you're not getting your chalky milk, okay? And they're like, whoa.
Remember this.
I mean, that's not even hyperbole, though.
Weird tilt.
That's like
so it
legit.
wasn't just me looking up or like being able to kind of see around. This is me looking straight at the door. And
California does suck, but I mean, the park's okay. Again, I grew up like around, like near Sacramento-ish. It was, fuck the parks. Fuck those parks. They're not even that good. Like, you go to Six Flags down in, like, San Jose or something like that. It is dangerous, dude. The gangs run that place. You can't even go. Even in Disneyland, there's people fighting in Toontown. It's wild. It's crazy. I don't know. They must be doing something to keep down the crime inside of the amusement parks. But even me having to say that shows you the dire state that place is in.
just seeing these things, I remember in the process, I thought that they were real. And I always think they're real. Even to this day, I think these things are real in some sense. But when I woke up, they weren't.
Yeah, no, Dan Snot says he meant like the national parks in Yosemite and shit. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they really do take really good care of those, because I've actually never been to, I think I've actually been to Yosemite. But, yeah, California does have nice national parks. But they don't let people in there, really. I mean, you can go to the national park, right? But when the night comes, they'll kick you out. And if they find you sleeping there, they're going to kick you out and probably fine you. A lot of rock climbers do that. They sneaky camp at the bottom of like Half Dome and stuff. But you can't go. That it's like the one place without homeless people is the national parks, and good, I guess. Good. At least they're keeping that pristine, but the rest of California is just it's a mess. It's a mess. Fuck that place. I never want to go back.
It was definitely the first time that I saw something that made me think that this was more than just, a sleep disorder.
So Thumpire says there's a father here in British Columbia who will be fined 20,000. It just says 20 grand. Is that like loonies? 20,000 real dollars? Anyways, by the government every time he misgenders his daughter. That sucks. I would get my kids out of that country as fast as possible. If the law requires me to get you a sex change operation, we are going to be on the next Underground Railroad out of that place. No fucking way. And you know why? The Canadians don't have guns. They can pull shit like this. They haven't started pulling shit like this in America for a good reason, because people still are armed to the teeth. And if you come and try to chop a kid's dick off, you're going to get shot. And good. I hope they shoot you in the head. Jesus Christ. But that's why this shit flies in like Australia and Canada, because they gave up their gun rights a long time ago. In fact, they didn't really have gun rights to begin with, right? They just kind of forgot to mention them in their constitutions. But our Constitution was like, oh, no, this is one of the top ones. It was probably either the First Amendment was going to be either first or second with the gun amendment. Those two are basically the only ones you really need. The right to say what you want and the right to defend yourself. That's all you really need to form a country, because the rest is just going to handle itself. Right? Like, the rest of them are just too much. Really. You only needed the two. The Fifth Amendment, I guess. There's a few good ones. Right? But the first two, those are the main ones. And that's why they're the most attacked, too. They're the most attacked out of all of the amendments of the Constitution, because they're the most dangerous. They can't let you just say whatever you want. If you disagree with them, and then people start rallying around you because other people disagree with them, that's going to be a real problem. And if you have guns, that's a huge issue. If you're trying to take over the world, or even just the country, with an iron fist, and people who disagree with you are armed, that's a fucking problem. That's not going to work. So yeah, they're going to try to take your guns. So go out and buy guns. And then say whatever you fucking want on the internet. Do it. Do it. What are they going to do? You're going to go on a list somewhere. Oh, boo fucking who? Put me on a list. I don't give a shit. I'm probably on a lot of lists. I associate with Royce Lopez. I'm definitely on a list, right? I think he's on like the SPLC hate watch list, which is pretty funny, right? The entire country of Turkey doesn't like him. Good, just say whatever you fucking want, right? You have a gun. And people are like, well, you can't take on the U.S. Army because they have like nuclear weapons and like tanks and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, though. I mean, eventually they're going to need to go house to house and like lock people down, right? That's when it gets hard. It's not just, you can't just nuke a city, because then what? Then that city's just gone? You don't want that. There's factories in there. There's supplies. There's things you need to run any sort of society. You can't just nuke that shit. Even rolling a tank densely through downtown, right? There's a lot of places that tank can be hit from. Insurgency has worked a lot. That's why it's such a problem. Like, Vietnam was all insurgency. Afghanistan was all insurgency, right? We had drones and missiles and tanks, and we still lost. And people are like, you can't take on the government with AR-15. My ass.
I do remember it happening as far back as when I was a little girl.
Yeah, exactly.
As being 5 or 6 years old. And then the same thing happened when I was about 15.
Holy shit. Thumpire says you haven't been able to buy nunchucks in Canada since like 95? Dude, nunchucks? Make your own. Make your own. They'll be way more badass. And they're super easy to make. You just get 2 pieces of metal and tie them together with a string. I don't know how they made that illegal. Really? They made that illegal? You can't have nunchucks? Did you have a real ninja problem in British Columbia? Because if so, I would like to see.
So
I would like to see your
really out of control.
Your ninja problem.
Feeling like unloved and stuff.
Ninja.
I don't know how I got that way.
Ninja.
But it was kind of like a brokenness inside. Like I was just broken, spiritually broken. And that time I was in a 2-story home in Torrance, the city of Torrance. it was in the middle of the night, but I was wide awake. Like, I was literally wide awake. My eyes were open, but I could now feel this presence, this evil presence behind me.
Thought's still trying to decipher what's happening. My kid looks like a radioactive beam of pink jello amongst the black children to whom his basketball skills match. Nope. I mean, maybe that was closer, but no, you're still way off.
Lying on my side, like on my left
She
side.
doesn't know whether to be proud or
I'm a side
concerned
sleeper.
about the talent, her balance, her kid's basketball talent. Concerned, obviously, because that means he's probably going to jail at some point.
And then the door is behind me, and then I could feel the presence just right behind me. And I remember just trying
okay, that's
wanting
cool.
to move
So your uncle
and
made
turn
you some
around,
nunchucks?
but I could not lift a finger. Again, I was just frozen.
This is the meme. Like, this is Canada, and this is like a trans kid, and he's very interested. I don't know. This could be a meme though. Of what? I'm not sure.
Utterly in terror. And it was if I could describe what death would feel like, and it's a kind of horror that is worse than like in the movies.
Obedience said if I had to go with a melee weapon, I'd probably go with a machete on a stick. Okay. I mean, that... If I went melee... Morningstar? I feel like I could really wield a Morningstar really effectively. You know? Because it's like stubby and heavy. And I got enough muscle, I think, to swing that bitch pretty hard. Morningstar and a shield, I think I'd probably be pretty effective.
It's an icy cold, kind of dark, evil, something's in the room, and it's watching me. That's the scary part. That you feel a sense that it's watching you, and it's making you feel afraid, and it wants you to feel afraid.
Kitty B said, my son's first day of school, a white girl licked her finger and wiped my son's face thinking he was dirty. It was so funny. She had never seen a black person before. Where? Canada? Damn. That's... How do you not know? You don't have a TV? Was she Amish? Did she not... Who goes around licking their finger and wiping it on people? Even if they are dirty, that's gross.
I was a year and a half old, probably.
You don't remember that?
I was born and raised in rural Vermont, in an old farmhouse, about 100 plus years old, and I was in the middle of the woods. So it was very dark and very quiet, just pitch silence, which itself kind of has a sound.
Rungu? Let me look that up.
And so here I am, I'm a baby. I wake up and I can't move. I'm in my crib.
Ting!
And, so I'm surrounded by the bars of the crib on all sides. And above me, at the end of the crib, before the window, are two anthropomorphic kind of beings, I guess.
It's like a shillelagh.
Word to describe them.
That's like a shillelagh, right? Like Irish people use. Yeah, you guys want to see? Here, I'll pull it up. It's just like a club with a... Oops. Sorry. It's like a club. I imagine it's normal sized. Well, like a cane would be. You have one of those? That's cool. I bet I'd probably use that pretty well too.
It's actually my first memory. So in a way, it's kind of my awakening into the world. They always just look so cartoony. I've tried to draw them before, and it just looks like so goofy.
So, when therapists have people draw pictures. And I've had a therapist do this for me too. Like, they want you to draw pictures because they want to see like what your mind does unconsciously. A lot of people just draw and doodle, and then eventually either it becomes very violent imagery or sexual imagery, and there's a lot to be said about that. That shows a look inside of your brain. If he starts doing creepy, like Slender Man monsters, that's what he probably sees at night.
It just doesn't have the same malevolent impact. And their skin was like television static.
What? Their skin was like television static? That's really cool, actually.
You know, it had, you know, like an old TV when the signals, when you're not getting a good signal, it had that same kind of texture, that kind of.
Oh, like when you're on the toilet for too long and then you get up and your legs look like this or feel like this. Or you hit your funny bone and then this happens. His skin is just constantly like that. That would suck. Constant, like, those pins and needle feeling. Like your legs aren't getting enough oxygen because you've been scrolling for 45 minutes.
They were tall, kind of thin, these kind of thin limbs and these long fingers. And they had these very simple faces, almost cartoonish faces of, you know, these two inky eyes and this big, like, inky smile on their face. This kind of, you know,
inky,
tickling fingers. These like long, slender. They were laughing, you know. And then here's my little feet, you know.
Thumbire said the rungu we were talking about, it's a nice, fairly small weapon. You could throw it and incapacitate someone pretty easy. You know what I want is those bolos. You know those bolos where you throw them and they wrap around people's legs and then they're trapped? I want one of those. And a horse. Honey, let's get a horse. Let's get a horse.
Couldn't, you know, I was
two
paralyzed.
horses.
I couldn't move and I couldn't stop them. And they were laughing about it. There was kind of like laughter, like ha ha ha, like there, you know. And bars, these two anthropomorphic things.
Obedient to Ya says, what's that ghetto shit that with cement and rebar called? Prison. Prison, that's what that is.
Things, the windows. You know, according to my parents, but I kept on repeating the word Zines, like Zines, over and over again in like kind of a panic.
Zines.
Like, Zines, you know, like hanging on to them. And so maybe as a child, you know, seeing these kind of anthropomorphic.
A bolo would be sick.
Not human, but human.
What was I fucking telling you guys about? What was I just telling you about like 20 minutes ago? If there was somebody in the room, you'd be like, what the fuck? Right? He just had that happen. He's like, somebody's here. I wonder what that is. Is that like human ESP? Because I feel like most people can do that, right? It's not just me, right? You know when somebody is like around you. What is that? Even if you don't hear, maybe you hear them on like a subsonic level, like where your ears don't pick it up, but your brain registers a heartbeat in the room. Maybe it's more spiritual than that. Maybe you can sense another soul. That's why robots can sneak up on you, by the way.
So I wouldn't sleep in my crib again. My parents tried to put me in my crib, and I just wouldn't do it. I would just scream and scream and scream and scream and scream. I made this as a Halloween costume some years ago.
Yo, hold on. Yo, look at that. You made that as a Halloween costume, and your parents were just like, yeah, he's fine. No. No, he's not fine, dude. Take him to a therapist. Like, pronto. Now. That's not fine.
Now you're staring into my childhood right now.
That's horrible.
Is it scary?
That's horrible. That's your childhood? That's the childhood? Like, if you're like, my childhood is a face, that's the face. That's bad, dude. I mean, like, I feel for you. I'm not blaming you in any way. But, damn, see somebody? Like a priest? Jesus? See Jesus. See Jesus. He'll probably take care of that for you. It's lizard brain shit back when we needed to know if there was a predator behind us. It could be. It could be that where you just know there's a presence around you. I know there's something about when a tiger is close to a monkey, the monkey, like, it gets a fear response. Even though, and apparently it's like some very low vibration that we can't hear, but it terrifies primates. And why they know this is because there was some scientists working in a lab one day, and in this specific lab, whenever they would go into it, they would feel a deep sense of fear, of terror, and they would just have to leave. And so they looked around the lab and didn't see anything. Eventually, they got a sonic detector into there, and a fan leading into the lab was just barely rubbing on the side of its casing, but it was too low to hear. So nobody heard it, but people still sensed it. And so they think this relates to tigers. Tigers make a very low pitched gurgle roar. And then that's what people pick up on. Even though they can't actually hear it, their brain knows that there's danger afoot. So that's interesting, right? So if they can do that, that means they can use weapons that shoot sound into your room that just make you feel terror. For you don't even know why. You just feel terror just sitting there. This is what I'm talking about. The technology that they have would probably blow us away. And it would be so revolutionary that we wouldn't even recognize it as human technology. It would just be fucking magic to us because, you know, maybe they've had this technology for decades and they've perfected it to a point where it's just like, it's unrecognizable as any mechanical thing we would create. I believe 100% we have technology like that. I'm sure of it.
Any medical help?
No, because I didn't think I was going crazy. I knew what I was experiencing was real. And I didn't want someone else to come and tell me, well, no, that's not real.
Did you seek any kind of help? Did you try to do anything to keep it from happening?
Did I get an exorcist? No, I did a Google search.
I got on the internet very early compared to most people in about 94 maybe. I'm totally
94.
95.
OG. That's OG internet. Who was on the internet in 94 in this chat? I'm sure some of you. Unless I got a real young crowd. Thumpire says you can buy an authentic room go on Amazon for like $60, a worthwhile investment. If I did a merch of a Sulk Rungu, would you guys be interested? Tell me, because I'll consider it.
And one of the very first things I looked up was the Shadow Man.
It'll be pricey.
And from there in the search engines, it wasn't very far down the page, sleep paralysis. I was like, wait,
just warning you.
Frozen sleep paralysis. And I called my mom up right away. I said, oh my gosh, Mom, it's sleep paralysis. That's what they call it. It's a thing. She was very excited too, and she wanted to understand more about it because she felt that maybe something medical.
Hey,
could be
Karen
done
sent me flaccid.
so that we no longer had it. Because when the scientists figure it out, they figure out a medicine to go with it, right? So we felt that we would actually have answers and medication or something to make it better.
I called and the doctor made an appointment and came in.
I like how Thumpire is just talking about weaponry in the chat. Just
explained to them what was going on.
Yeah, your Gunstock War Club is really what I'd be
kinda
going
concerned that
with.
maybe
It's
I was
got
having
the
seizures while I was sleeping,
the
so
skull
she set me
stabbing
up for,
spike
like,
and
CAT scan,
you know the
EEG,
debowler.
all that. So I went in.
That's
for
that little
those,
hook
and
on the bottom. That's the debowler.
results for the CAT scan were normal, but the EEG came back with said I had abnormal results. That's all she said. You have some abnormal readings.
Goofy Boots said, I remember asking my dad if I could go online in 95 or 96, and he asked what I wanted to do, and I didn't know. Because what? Like, what? If you've never been on the internet, and you're like, can I go on the internet? And they're like, what do you want to do? I'd be like, I have no idea. I don't know what the internet is. What can you do on the internet? That's the craziest thing to me now. Because I've had the internet for so long, not knowing what it is weird to me. Like not knowing. Back in 95 and 96, the websites were garbage. I mean, they were the best they could do at the time. But they're nowhere near as optimized. They're hard to navigate. They're clunky is the word. The design of websites have gotten a lot better since the 90s, obviously. Really quickly.
You have sleep paralysis. It's just caused by stress. So if you just make some lifestyle changes, it'll go away.
But you get a cut and paste answer from doctors. You're stressed, change your lifestyle without asking what your lifestyle is. There's no answer, it's just a dismissal of basically they don't know. And if they don't know, then they don't care.
Every time I
Wait, is it really your birthday, Karen? Is it your birthday? If so, happy birthday, or are you just making a joke? Happy birthday. 40's nothing to sneeze at, man. Or, yeah, you're a man, I think. 40. That's not that bad. I'm 30. I'll be 36 this month. So, yeah. Cool, I guess. I mean, it works for me. I don't think I'm old. I don't think I'm young. I think I'm on a good mid ground, right? I think I'm middle aged, but I feel fine. I don't feel bad or old or incapable in any way. I'm probably close to the strongest I've ever been now. I'm pretty fucking strong.
would talk to like a psychiatrist, I'd be like, I'm having this sleep problem. Like, this is what happens. This is what it feels like. They'd be like, okay. Tell me about like, you know, how you doing at home. And I would always try to be like, no,
hey,
let's
Thought.
talk.
Now that Thought has audio, I have to tell her, you were nailing every interpretation you were putting out. It was uncanny. I don't know how you got that right, but you got it. You nailed it. Wow. That's all I have to
About
say.
This hideous sleep problem I have. She seemed really interested. She was like leans in and she's like, and it's not sleep apnea. And I was like, I know that. And she just said, that's really messed up.
Happy birthday, Dan Snot. In less than a month. A lot of December birthdays. That's cool. I'm down with it. I'm Sagittarius. Anybody else? No? That's like the end of the month, I think. Or, I don't know.
I remember the following night after it would happen, I'd lay in bed being so scared that it was going to happen again, and then most assuredly it would happen again because I was thinking about it.
Vampire says M438 as of a few weeks ago can feel the old man strength forming. When does that kick in? When does old man strength like really? Because there's some old men out there that like you wouldn't think they're as strong as they are. But after decades of muscle development, you can be really strong and not look it, right? Old man strength is a real thing.
And obsessing about it.
Like when I'd go through like the dry spells, basically, where I wasn't having it, if I started telling somebody about it, then it was like almost 100% guarantee that I was gonna have it that night.
This isn't our.
You're right, Thought. DEWs are definitely a thing. 100%. Definitely. I mean, we've seen the ones that they put on the planes. I don't know if they have the ones that are in space or not, but it really doesn't matter. I mean, they just do definitely have them. I don't know if that's even controversial. There's definitely death lasers, right? They developed them to shoot missiles out of the sky. I remember I watched a whole History Channel thing on it.
College apartment.
Okay.
So I was here.
Did I get... Ah, shit. Am I getting stuck?
I had my bed
I think I'm all right.
here. And then my roommate was right here. And the blobs, I saw these black blobs. I could see them, blobs of black, coming onto my bed.
What the hell is going on? Watch out for these black blobs, guys. Is it my internet? It's not my internet. I think it's just Rumble being a bitch again. Oh my God. Is it seriously being like that?
And I could see my roommate just in the corner over there, and I was trying to scream her name so that she could help me. And she's sleeping away,
Yeah, guys, that's not me.
and I'm straining to talk, and nothing can come out.
I'm a diver, and I've experienced.
I'm a diver.
Well, been close to death quite a few times. I'm a deep.
Dude, diving is dangerous. Diving is super dangerous. You know what? I'm going to stop this stream and start it back up and see. There we go.
Diver, but nothing's as terrifying as what happens, and I have it once or twice a week.
When I was about 10 is when it started to happen every single solitary day.
Okay, we back.
Nobody ever really took me entirely seriously, you know, even though I was a petrified little boy, you know, terrified.
You
to
were
be
probably a
alone,
little...
hated my bedroom, hated the room.
I don't know.
alone.
You were probably annoying. Like one of those chihuahuas as a kid. You were probably a very slight child, too. And so your parents were just annoyed about how scared of everything you were.
My bedroom and had sleep paralysis probably every night. You know, had voices talking to me in the sleep paralysis, very abusive experiences. Hey, Forrest. You just won Giant Insect of the Month Club.
Insect of the Month Club.
I want to really learn the voice of Jess's dead grandma and try to mimic it from like a closet or like just when I'm sitting there one day and see if I can scare the shit out of her. Scaring Jess is a lot of fun. It's it's easy.
Sending your first prize up to your bedroom right now.
Jesus Christ, that actually got me.
Again, goes back to
That
the
got
fact
me.
That, you know, because it
Damn it, I hate the jump scare. Damn it.
wasn't like a real experience. If somebody
It
had
got
come
me,
in the
though.
bedroom and some creepy guy was whispering to me every night. You know, my parents would definitely have done something about it. But the farthest they went was kind of being like, well, maybe we should take him to a psychologist. No.
Yeah, they probably should have taken you to a psychologist.
I was trying to fall asleep.
That's probably... Sorry, fix my
I
hair.
felt this like overwhelming pressure come over me, and my breathing just stopped.
No, her grandma is not Jewish, so so I don't need to. She does a great Jewish lady voice, though. Have you ever heard Jess's Jewish lady voice? She's the one in the household that can do impressions. I cannot do impressions. I just don't have the ear for it. You know, I can't do impressions of people or, I mean, you guys saw it, the whole thing, right? You guys were there for that. It's just a skill I don't have. I never developed it, and I had no need for it. But everyone is better at it than me. Like, everyone has an average level where they can do a few impressions and stuff, and I'm just like, I'm Australian, mate. No, can't do it. I can't. I suck at it.
He was trying to kind of tell me, I'm going to kill myself now, and you have the option to stop that. If I want to continue to breathe, I have to actively override whatever else is going. I have two options. Either try to break free of the paralysis, or I breathe.
Breaking free of it, because, like, your brain thinks you can. Your brain thinks you could just move normally. But when you don't move normally, you freak out, right? Because you can't move. So naturally, you're going to freak out. It's scary. Yeah, this whole thing is scary. It hasn't happened to me many times, but it has happened a few. Am I the only one? Has anybody else experienced this, where they get the sleep paralysis and the demon and stuff? Anybody else, or is it just me?
You know, that was kind of the beginning, and
I'm great at Cabana Boy. Okay, hey, how you guys doing? Hey, can I get you something? I don't know. Do you want a margarita? And I could wear a Speedo. I mean, I think I would just make a great Cabana Boy in general.
Being afraid of not going to sleep, but I would just.
Obedient said his best impression is his straight man voice. Ha ha. You got me.
To fall asleep for the most part. Because
you found me out.
It just never stopped. Kind of ever.
It happened to Kitty.
Just about anywhere. Some places will.
Does it happen to black people more than what? Because I feel like it does.
Be much worse. And the voice is different by place.
Should I wear it? If you get me a Speedo, I guess I'll wear it. Just not the ones that go up the ass. You know? Because it's not even... No. Just no.
I had an apartment in Boston. I lived in Jamaica Plain in Boston for a while above a pizza place. And I would always hear this middle-aged woman singing in a baby's voice there. Like, la, 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 like, diddly-dong, diddly-dong.
And just gradually faded away until I pretty much almost forgot I had ever experienced it. And I thought I was good, finally over. It was just a phase I was going through, and now it's done. One afternoon, I was up doing housework and was kind of tired, and I figured I'll lay down and take a nap because I'm going to go with friends later on tonight. So I went, laid down, and set the alarm on my phone, checked all the time, and just like kind of threw it on the nightstand next to me. And just laid down. And
what's with this hat? I feel like he's dressed like like an Ed and Eddie character, where he's got the hat, and but he just seems like a '90s cartoon the way he's dressed.
As I started to fall asleep, I felt like this tingling sensation come over me. And since I had been dealing with it so long, it was kind of like a familiar feeling. It's like the warning sign, okay, sleep paralysis is about to happen.
Oh,
And,
damn.
Like, my body would tingle.
Like, you
start
know
to
it's
feel
gonna
heavy.
happen?
I'd see just like all these pixelated colors. And so I sat myself up to wake myself up, kind of shake it off. And so then it felt like it went away. And so I just like, picked up my phone, looked at the time, okay. Laid back down and started going to sleep. And just as I fell asleep, my phone rang. And so I laid there for a second. It was like, do I answer it? Don't I answer it? Just fell asleep, and now somebody's waking me up. So finally I gave in and I answered it. I grabbed my phone, hello. And when I did that, the person on the other end of the line said, hello, and then they said something else that I couldn't really make out because it was all staticky and cutting out. And so I said, I can't understand you, you're breaking up, there's a bad connection. And I said, hello again, and it's like, you're breaking up, I can't, hear you. And so finally I trying to make out what they were saying and whatnot, and I decided
Do people still gauge their ears like this? Is that still a thing? I remember when I was in like high school, a lot of people had gauged ears, and I don't know what they're like today. Do they have big hoops that are just dangling there, or do they get the surgery that like tucks them and refits them? Because that would suck. That would suck, like living day to day with just your dangly ass hoops, right? Because that doesn't look good.
I'm up, I'm gonna go get a cigarette.
Because there was like
got
big
up,
ones, like
talking to him like hello, and then finally.
Sorry if you
I
have one.
walked
I'm
out
not
into
trying
the
to be like
living room.
offensive or anything like that. I'm just trying to say like that's a decision that people are gonna, that's gonna affect you down the line. Anybody like gauges, big old gauges. I knew a ton of people that had them in California.
Just as I got out in the living room, the connection cleared up, and the person on the other end was just like this very pleasant man. He was like, hello, I was wondering if you could do me a favor.
What kind of favor?
Let me in.
I freaked out, I was like, there's a demon on the other end of my phone. I want nothing.
For real though, is there a demon? Could this actually be a demon? Because that doesn't seem unlikely. I feel like there's a lot of demons running around, or demons attached to people. Maybe this is a real thing and he's not being crazy or like, just delirious from sleep deprivation. Maybe this is something he's legitimately experiencing and he should talk to somebody about it, like an exorcist or something.
Nothing to do with this. I threw my phone across the room and it broke into pieces. And then
I did not say that. I didn't say that, Obedient. All right, I did not say fuck your fag gauged ears. No, that do not. I mean, now I did, but don't. I didn't mean that. Quit putting words.
Everything around me just like went into complete chaos. It was just like almost like an earthquake hit. It's like everything was shaking, dark, and my whole body started vibrating. Felt like something was trying to like rip me out of myself, kind of like pull my soul out. Just like trying to process this, like what's going on.
I wonder how they got this
terrified.
shot. So they're like, we're gonna throw a bunch of shit in the air, and you just like jiggle like this, and it'll all be a slow-mo. Oop, wrong button.
The only thing I could think to do was I just started praying. I was like, God, if you're there, help me. I don't know what's happening. Just please, somebody help me.
Are you making banana bread? She's making banana bread French toast in there. So, dope. Awesome. I guess I'm going to go eat some banana bread French toast. See you, suckers. No, we still have like half an hour left.
And as soon as I said that, it felt like somebody just grabbed me from behind and just like yanked me back like down the hall and just like slammed me back into my body. And like I hit my body and I like sat up instantly and like looked around and was like, did that just happen? What was that real? And so the first thing I did was grab my phone, you know, I'm like looking through, okay, who did I just talk to? And like no, there was no missed calls or no answered calls or nothing. And I had looked at the time and it'd only been like 2 minutes.
Maybe, okay, Karen sent me flashes, said pretty much every metalcore kid around Portland has gauged ears, but it's a music scene thing. Maybe that was just it. Maybe it was like a West Coast music scene thing. Because a lot of scene kids were had gauged ears, and yeah, there was a lot of them. And yeah, that's like, what are you going to do after that? You going to get the surgery? What if you can't afford the surgery? You just have big dangly ass ears. Do you like tie them behind your head? Like, that's not practical. That's not like looking forward into your... I know you can get it fixed, but I don't know how much that costs.
Since I had initially laid down to go to sleep, I did tell my mom, and she just kind of told me I'm nuts. It's like, it was a bad dream. It happens all the time. No, Mom, it wasn't a dream.
I'm looking it up. Okay. Okay, so it's like $1,500 to get your ears sewed back up. So that's not that bad, but I mean, that's $1,500. That's not that easy to come by, right? It's not impossible, but if you're like really committed to do it, that's not that bad. So a lot of them probably got them fixed.
Or 8th grade, 87 or 88.
Ew. Karen said it would be an easy fight. Pinky meet ear hole. Really, just grab them by it and then just yank. That's, I mean, there's a reason Latinas and like take their earrings out before they fight. Because it's just like grabbing onto a basketball hoop. It's really going to be easy. It's really going to not be a challenge at all. This is also why guys shouldn't have long hair. Don't get me wrong. If I could grow long hair, like, and it not look just like, I've tried it a bunch of times. It just looks like shit. I can't do it. My son has long hair. My wife's brothers and dad all have long hair. But dude, if you get in like a fight or something and you have long hair, that's a problem. You're going to get rocked. He's going to grab you by the hair and he just rules it from then on. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I mean, that's why you shouldn't have long hair. But if you want to have it and you don't get in a lot of fights, then be my guest. But still, that's something to consider, right? That's a major weak point. So, I'm not telling you to cut your hair, especially if you have like a righteous ass mane. But just be aware. Carry a gun because you can't fist fight very well with long hair.
And I saw Nightmare on Elm Street with my mother, thank goodness.
Braid it. That's even lamer. A guy with braids. Like, I can't. No, dude. Don't braid it.
And she was like,
keep it in a hat at least.
Like our dreams. I was like, yeah, I know. So
Warrior pigtails. No, those are going to be dick sucking pigtails. Like all pigtails are. Jeez. I mean, not like, you know what I mean, right? Pigtails. Let's just move on.
And I kept watching
Let's just move on.
Because I wanted to find some clues, some answer to what was going on. And of course, they mention a little bit of myth in the movie, but not enough to really research.
Did you ever read about the Balinese way of dreaming?
No.
They got this whole system they call dream skills. They get all their art and literature from dreams. Just wake up and write it down. Dream skills.
The Balinese, I've been to Bali. They don't really have a lot of art and literature. They're like, the ball, I mean, Jesus Christ. Indonesia is, it's dirty. It's like, I don't want to say too much because then the entire country of Indonesia is going to be mad at me. And like, that's not good. There's a lot of them. There's like a lot of them. The landmass is like the size of California, but there's like 350 million of them. It is dense. It is densely populated. Like, and they all have like 10 kids each. All the women have like kid after kid, and all the guys cheat on their wives. Every single one of them. It's just, and I mean, they're Muslims, right? I guess they're not supposed to cheat on their wives, or are they? I don't know. But they reproduce really fast. So like a tidal wave or something wiping out 1 million of them isn't really a problem. I'm not saying it's not tragic, all right? I'm just saying you guys will repopulate pretty quickly. So, you know.
What if they meet a monster in their dreams? Then what?
Freddy Booger.
When I was, we had HBO when I was little, and my dad was very liberal with letting us watch whatever we wanted to watch on it.
Yeah, if their wife complains, they can just beat her, but they don't even bother beating her. They just like, I don't know, go out and fuck other women. It's not even like I'm gonna stay and deal with this. It's just, it's a crazy, crazy place. Like it's by all means, go check it out. It's like cool and interesting and it's different, but like all of Southeast Asia is a strange place.
HBO.
And the Australians get hammered and they're everywhere and they puke at like 10 a.m., right? You see Australians puking in the streets at 10 a.m. And it's just what they do, right? They just drink way too much because they're on vacation. But I think they drink way too much at home too. They wear like a bintang singlet, right? That's the wear of the Australian, and they just get shit housed, like every damn night, every day,
Once
just
he was
constantly
watching
drinking.
a movie, and I just kind of like wandered in, and I didn't really know what the movie was, and then this creature emerges from behind a dresser, and it's like it's an alien, and it's like it was the movie Communion with what's his face, the guy who was in the dancing video, I don't know, but Christopher Walken, yeah, exactly, Christopher Walken, and
is Christopher Walken dead? Am I thinking of Tim Curry?
When I saw that face, my mind immediately drew a parallel to the things I had experienced as a child, and I was petrified. I remember just being petrified, and then I like stayed watching as this like little kid. And and these images I like remember as incredibly shocking images to me as a child, because it was the first time that the kind of things that I had seen aligned with something that was known about or was explored.
A bunch of people came over and they're like, "Oh, let's watch this Insidious movie," and I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not? Like, I don't care." And like about 20 minutes into the movie, I'm like, "Yeah, this is about sleep paralysis. I'm pretty sure."
Insidious is a good movie if you've ever watched Insidious. The first one I really liked.
I was like, all right, like that's kind of cool. Somebody made a horror movie about it. When the dude's like in the chair, he just goes into this like world and he's searching for the kid. They're pulling from so.
Apparently, this is real. Like out of body experiences and like this psychic phenomenon shit is real. And like the CIA admitted it was real, or like they came out with, and of course they've been doing tests on it since like the 50s. So apparently like remote viewing is useful to them. Like they actually have people that their job is to remote view things, and they have a fairly good accuracy rate of like 85% or something like that. Maybe it's more now, but that's a real thing. They do that. Allegedly. They came out with a document saying it was real. Does that automatically make it true? No, probably not. Probably not. It's the CIA, and everything they put out, they're putting out for a very specific reason. It could be disinformation or whatever or whatnot. You know, there could be a reason. Is it real? Maybe. And them saying it's real adds some sort of credence to it, but it's not like airtight then. It's still like, well, that's what the CIA says, but, you know, they've got no real reason to tell us the truth.
So many different parts of sleep paralysis lore. The Shadow Man.
I kept leaving my body.
The night hag, the old hag.
I sat there and like just kind of getting annoyed. I mean, I don't even know why. Like, it wasn't like this movie sucks. I mean, it was okay. And then all of a sudden, they do like the head shaking thing, like this like weird, it was in Jacob's Ladder, and it freaked me out. Like, I was like, that's exactly how it feels. Like, and that was the first time I ever, I saw somebody represent what it feels like, or I guess not what it feels like, or what it feels like it looks like to be in it. Like, when I'm coming out, like, sometimes my jaw will like just fucking go back and forth real quick, or like my head will like shoot
This
from
is a
side
creepy
to side.
documentary.
And it's what I imagine it looks like. Even my girlfriend, she was like, you know, those weird head movements, like that's kind of like what it's like for me to watch, you know, except not magically blurry. That's a sleep paralysis day. It's gotta be.
That could also be tics, like not like the bugs, but involuntary actions or words or movements and stuff like that. A lot of people have tics and they don't know it, and it could be because of a magnesium deficiency, or a lot of people with like autism or ADD have tics. You could have tics and not really understand what that is, right? And, you know, then you just have tics and you just don't know what to do. Take magnesium. NAC helps too.
Yeah, you know, I had my own sleep paralysis.
Yes, sometimes I have tics.
This episode, well, in that
Sometimes.
one, it was sort of a classic three-dimensional black shadow man who came up from the woods behind my house and leaned over my bed. And I think maybe a year or two later, I saw Natural Born Killers. And there's a scene, and it goes by just in a flash, where...
Jess loves this movie. I've never seen it. So, apparently it's good. I've never taken the time to sit down and watch it.
That guy is, like, in the opening credits, coming through, like, this strange red tunnel cloudy vortex thing. I think it's over the credit, producer Arnon Milchin. But like it went by in a flash, and it must have been, you know, kind of complicated to call into existence. So I was like, why was that there? And, you know, I still didn't know what sleep paralysis was. I didn't know that anyone else had it. So I saw that and almost kind of took it as a message, like the people who made this film had the same experience that I did.
Do you have tics obedient? Or do you have epilepsy? Because that's good to know. I won't play anything too flashy if you have epilepsy. I'll take that into consideration, or I'll at least warn you.
And it's kind of like a signal to me in some strange, scary way.
Oh, it's true. I mean, it was kind of the same as a child. It was very validating.
Mechanisms of avoidance.
I never thought it was my mind playing tricks on me. I just knew something bad was always happening to me. And I didn't I didn't know what to do about it.
So you don't have visual triggers. I'm not going to play flashy things, like, unless I'm doing it intentionally. But I will warn people, because I don't want to give people seizures, you know? And YouTube usually has some sort of warnings and stuff like that. I'm just going to be sensitive to that regardless, even if you don't have visual tics or visual triggers. But what kind of trigger do you have? Triggers, or does it just happen randomly throughout your day?
I've prayed my whole life. I still pray. I'm a very spiritual person. However, prayer never made it go away, even when I was within.
I guess, yeah, okay. Obedience says, to be honest, the whole seizure warning thing is BS, not your responsibility. I mean, you're right. But I'm just trying to be helpful. I mean, you're absolutely 100% right. It's not my responsibility. It's your responsibility to protect yourself. If you have triggers, like, this is the thing. When people have, like, emotional triggers or hear something triggering, that's not other people's responsibility to restrain or, you know, I'm sorry. I felt weird. To restrain or, like, censor themselves, right? That's not their responsibility. It's your responsibility as the sensitive individual to avoid situations that can set you off like that. That's what being an adult is, right? You're not going to, you know, go to a place that's a bunch of flashing lights if you're epileptic. That just seems sensible. But nowadays, people are like, I'm going to go to this light parade and I'm epileptic, and then I'm going to complain that they had too many lights there. And then I'm going to get the light parade shut down for everybody. And then no more Christmas light parade for the children, right? Because one fat cat lady who wanted to be special decided to tell everybody that she had epilepsy, even though she didn't. But, you know, that doesn't matter. If you're triggered by something of that nature, even words, if you're on a public forum and you get easily triggered by a careless remark, first of all, grow the fuck up, right? But if it's something inside you that just cannot handle it, you know, people have conditions. People have different brain chemistries. If that shit sets you off, stay home. Stay home for the sake of everybody, including yourself. Why would you do that? Just to make people upset? Just to piss people off? Because that's what's happening. We have to censor ourselves. We can't even say, we can't misgender people because it's too fucking, it's too fucking triggering these days. You know how many times I called my friend a girl back then? Now you can't do that. Like, now it's a hate crime to be like, you could throw like a girl or something like that, or like you got bitch tits, or your clit's really long, or, you know, stuff like that. That last one is locker room talk. But you know what I mean, right? Don't go around ruining other people's good time just because you suck. And if you have epilepsy and you, like, are aware of it and you keep to yourself and you stay away from those situations and you don't complain and you don't ruin other people's good time, good on you. You actually have the condition. But a lot of people don't have these conditions. Like, ADD is very trendy on TikTok, and it makes me mad. It makes me mad because ADD is not cute. No, it's not fucking cute. It's like, it's very destructive, and it takes, like, it makes you a person you really don't want to be. And that's, if you can't help that, it's very disheartening. So, bitches thinking they're cute, or they say I'm so ADD on TikTok, it drives me up the fucking wall. And they do this not only with ADD specifically, but like OCD. A lot of these people who say they're OCD are not OCD, right? They just think it's like trendy, or it's a fashion statement to say you have obsessive compulsive disorder. Something that ruins people's lives. And you pretend you have it. Just because maybe sometimes you can be a little particular. That's not OCD, you dumb bitch. That drives me fucking crazy. It drives me absolutely insane when people say they have these conditions and display symptoms that they've read about, or they don't fully understand the condition, and then they display different symptoms that have nothing to do with the condition and be like, oh, sorry, that's my OCD. No, it's not. That's your stupidity talking. That's you being a dumb bitch. Stop it. Stop faking a disorder because you want to feel special, or you want to feel like you're different from all the other basic bitches out there, because you're not. And you're probably fat too. So even if you're not fat, stop doing that. It drives me insane. It's like, it's definitely not a cool thing to do. Let's put this back on. God, this is some anxiety-inducing music. I don't know. This is like jazz. Anyways, guys, we're out of time. I'm gonna end it. Well, we're on time, so I hope you guys have a great night. Thanks for hanging out with me till the end. The people that did, a lot of people probably jumped over to Pessy's stream or something like that. That's cool though. If you're watching this on the replay, thank you so much for taking the time to come and watch this. I mean, I appreciate it. And if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, it really helps me out, obviously. And leave a comment too, if you're so inclined. Because, again, I love reading those. A guy from Europe commented on my stream yesterday. Really cool. Anyways, guys, I guess that's all we have for tonight. I will see you tomorrow back here at 8 p.m. on the Sulk stream. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. I hope you take care of yourselves, because I care about you. And I want to make sure everybody in my cult stays nice and happy, nice and strong, beautiful and sexy. Okay? So eat right, get some water, and get some good sleep. Until tomorrow, guys, I hope you have a great evening. I'll catch you later. Bye.